What is pleasure? So, from my point of view, pleasure is a state that a person feels when searching for happiness via external things, circumstances, and situations. And those external things, circumstances, and situations from which we get pleasure are the comforts. I feel the real state of happiness that one actually feels cannot be described in the words. Many people I know have difficulty to distinguish between pleasure and happiness. Eating the food they want, buying the clothes that are trending, sleeping an hour extra in the morning, spending time with the loved ones, etc., are often seen as pleasurable activities which are confused for happiness. While yes, they may be good for you in a short term, but looking at the bigger picture, they are just not the happiness we are looking for at the moment. Why do you think? The reason is that we are just satisfying our limited desires by performing all the aforementioned activities. But at the same time, if we listen to our inner self closely, we actually want to be limitless. We want to have limitless amount of money, limitless amount of energy. We want to achieve everything that there is, and we want to run after so-called success. This ego clash between satisfying our limited desires or pleasure seeking and running after the thought of becoming limitless binds us mentally, emotionally, and physically. Let's observe closely. The word desire itself equals to incompleteness. When we satisfy ourselves through our own limited desires, even though the desires get fulfilled, we still feel incomplete, isn't it? Because the desires itself is limited. But logical mind kicks in and says, yes, that's the point. I am incomplete, and the desire, although fulfilled, is also incomplete, since desire never ends. So, incomplete me plus fulfilled incomplete desires equals to fulfilled me. Seems logically correct, yes? But no, there's a great flaw, and it does not apply to life itself. Think about it. If this was true, why is the suicide rate so high when the comfort level in this generation is beyond any other generation? This indicates a lack of clarity in understanding the distinction between happiness and pleasure. Together with desire comes unnecessary attachment to the materialistic things. This attachment further strengthens the bond of ours with worldly desires. So one may think that desires without having any attachment may lead to happiness, which is not possible because as long as there is a desire, attachment exists and vice versa. We may conclude that desire and attachment are tightly linked to one another. Another may say detachment is the way, since detachment takes us further away from our desires of material needs. But it is difficult to do that, since it is difficult even to meet our survival need without having a desire. So what is the correct way? I guess unattachment. Thus, unattachment is the only way. So what is this difference between attachment, detachment, and unattachment? To understand this, let's take an example. In our childhood, we played and enjoyed with ourselves freely. As we reached the age of adulthood or adolescent, we may say the age of 18 or so, we discovered alcohol, and we noticed that it heightened our enjoyment of activities like playing, dancing, singing, even more than in our younger days. Curiously, we didn't quite understand why this happened, so we started using alcohol and other substances for pleasure, thinking it was make us happy. Over the time, we became accustomed to linking our daily fun activities exclusively to external factors like drinking and smoking. We forgot that in our childhood we engaged in these activities without any external stimulants. Hence, it became a normal part of our routine to only have a good time when there was alcohol or some other substances involved. In the above example, we could clearly pinpoint what is attachment, where we couldn't distinguish the dependency of external stimuli such as drinking and smoking on our nature of activities, that is dancing, playing and singing. Detachment involves rejecting all these dependencies, which is not entirely practical, as some material needs like money, fame and comfort do bring us satisfaction and comfort. This is where unattachment comes, where we neither want it nor we deny it. If it's there, we accept it wholly. And even if it's not there, we're totally fine with it. We accept it fully. So, what actually unattachment does? Unattachment actually accepts all the fundamentals and the nature of life as it is, and this acceptance is where there lies a key for happiness. Acceptance, in the sense of unattachment, means living life as nature intended, free from imposing our personal desires. Whatever the situation is thrown at you, when you look at it from the perspective of unattachment, you totally accept the circumstances, despite what you are feeling or thinking at that moment. When you accept your circumstances from the perspective of unattachment, you don't fear about the outcome of life, such as failures or success when we do certain things. The situation that affected us deeply when attached or detached begins to be acknowledged as a surface level problem, and thus positive attitude flourishes. Over the time, this self-reflection with unattachment reveals that there are no more problems to be solved, instead just a life to be lived as the best version of yourself.